Today on Across the Fence, get a bird's eye view of life in Vermont and make tweeting fun again. It's time for Bird Notes with Mark LaBarr from Audubon Vermont. Hello, Vermont. So here we are at the tail end of summer, the time of year when half of us are in mourning and the other half are getting their sweaters out of the basement. Mark, which one are you?
I'm in a little bit of mourning because, well, the birds are getting quiet and they're starting to think about leaving, and so it's a little bit of a letdown here in this quiet period after all the hubbub of spring.
I can completely understand your perspective because it is true. The birds are getting so much quieter right now. Like, I am definitely in the get out your sweaters group. I'm tired of being hot. I am ready to...
Yes. And the crazy thing is, when you think about it, you know, we have more birds in the woods now, in fields and stuff, than we did at the beginning of the season, because all of the young birds there too are present now. You know, so there's more birds out there. We just don't hear them.
See, and as you can see, class is in session, and this is the beginning of the school year, and I actually do feel like this show today is full of learning because we're going back to the banding table. We're going to talk about the Green Mountain Audubon Center and about bird banding and all the things we learned from bird banding.
So we've been banding, I've been banding for more than 30 years now, and I'm a master bander, and that means I have a federal permit that allows me to choir bands and band birds. And we've been running a banding station at the Audubon for about 30 years since I've been there, part of a program called Monitoring Avian Productivity and Survivorship. So there's about 500 stations like this across the country, and probably even more, Canada, and collecting the data all in the same way.
I'm taking notes. I'm doing my homework.
And then the Institute of Bird Population. So that was the banding table and the bands. This is what the table looks like with our data sheets. And of course, we've got our bird identification guides and a whole bunch of different things that we use when we're banding the birds. And then, of course, we release them. So this protocol is then used by the Institute of Bird Populations, and they run the statistics and do all of that kind of stuff to kind of see how birds are doing. And
so banding fits into this larger program of productivity and survivorship, right? Yeah. So it's basically it's a tracking method. It's how do we get the data about what's going on with birds.
Correct. And it focuses just on the breeding season. So we try not to catch birds on either end, any of the migrants. We just want to focus on the birds that are in the woods at the Green Mountain Audubon Center.
Okay, because we want to know about our local bird population.
Yes.
And then you brought some bands in with you.
Yeah, so these are what the bands look like. And, you know, these are big bands. Okay, so these are bands that might go on a pileated woodpecker or something like that. But we have different band sizes for all different birds. Each one of them has a number on it, and that number can be reported to the bird banding laboratory. And back in the day when I first started, you had to send in a letter and you'd get the certificate of appreciation if you found a band. Nowadays, of course, you could just go on the computer and do it that way.
So it's like putting an ID tag on the bird.
Yeah, giving the bird a name, basically. And, if we ever recapture it, which we often do, we know who that individual is.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Now, you've got some images of actually putting bands on birds. So this is the how-to.
This is a gray catbird, and it takes a medium-sized band, and we use these pliers here. You can see they have multiple holes for different sized bands. And what I'm actually banding when I band this bird is its foot. So you're seeing its toes, I'm holding its ankle, and that part of the bird doesn't grow anymore or anything like that. So it you know, the bird gets a bracelet, a little bit of bling.
It gets a little bling. That's very cute. What's going on here with this guy now? You don't put bands on wings.
No. So when we band a bird, you know, that's the first thing we do. We identify the species, band it, and then we want to learn whether it's a male or a female. We try to figure out how old it is. By looking at its wing and its molt patterns, we can figure out its age. Here we're taking what's called a wing chord measurement, where we're measuring its wing. We weigh the birds. We look to see whether they have, you know, a female might have a brood patch, or there's different plumage characteristics, and then all of that data is recorded on those data sheets.
So essentially like making a profile about any individual bird.
Yes.
And then it's tagged with their identification position number so that then if you
it's linked and put in
later.
right.
And this is fascinating.
Yeah, so so I've been banding for a long time. I don't band hummingbirds, but we do catch them. We catch the birds in what are called mist nets, which are like big volleyball nets that go from the ground all the way up. Very difficult to see in low light conditions, and the birds fly in, and we take them out.
I remember when you were speaking about Fallon, your intern from the summer. She spent some time doing banding with you. So interns get involved in banding. Anybody else get a chance to do banding?
You know, folks can come down to the banding station whenever they want. You know, banding does require a fair good of training, handling birds and everything like that. You do occasionally have to give a little talk and spiel because our camp students often come to see the birds we catch and how we put the bands on. So it takes a little bit of training, but you're welcome to come down to the banding station anytime and see what we catch.
Pretty fascinating. Okay, so now we have a bunch of images of birds who you, kind of common cast of characters who you might meet at the banding station.
They are the common cast of characters, and that's a good way to describe them. We do, because we're banding in an area and we band, you know, the idea is you band in the same place year after year, we catch a lot of the same birds year after year. And probably this first image, this is a bird called a veery, which is a thrush, so it's related to our state bird. It doesn't have a red tail like a hermit thrush does. And this is one of the more common birds we have in the woods around, and we often hear it singing. The veery also holds our record. So there's been a veery that we have caught 6 years in a row, a female.
Oh, wow.
So she's migrated all the way down to South America and then has come back to her little spot here at the Green Mountain Audubon Center every year.
I love that. What's the lifespan of a veery?
So that's actually getting close to it. It's 6 years. So that's good to see her come back. That last
tells you about
image
the health
that
of the
you saw,
population
and tells about survivorship. This is a gray catbird. Another very common bird. Our banding site has these nets set up in kind of shrubby habitat. And as I may have mentioned in the past, this is my favorite bird.
This is every time I hear catbird, I think of you.
Yeah, it's the first bird I ever held, and so this is a favorite of mine. Although Fallon, by the end of the year, was like, another catbird.
All right, how about this next little guy?
So again, in that early successional kind of scrubby habitat, this is one of our warblers, the chestnut-sided warbler, a nice male. So this is one of the smaller birds, again using the kind of the edge of the forest, sapling trees before you get in the, you know, please to meet you, kind of greeting you as you go into the forest. So these are always a good one to catch, and we catch them regularly.
Yeah. And then we've got, this is an ovenbird?
This is an ovenbird. This is another really common bird here in the forests. Teacher. So it's a bird that if you spend time in Vermont forests, you've probably heard it. Gets its name because it makes a little oven-shaped nest on the ground.
That's right. This is okay. Yes, I remember that from my Merlin escapades walking through forests this summertime.
Yes.
Yes, that I was picking up on some ovenbirds and I was reading about the habitat and that it is a ground nester.
Yeah, very difficult to find those nests, you know, which is good because that's how they raise their brood.
Indeed.
And one that looks very similar to that, you know, the ovenbird is a warbler, and we talked about the veery, but this is a wood thrush. So slightly bigger.
Same speckled chest.
Same speckled chest. Again, another bird that uses, you know, pretty common in the lowland forests. You know, as you get higher up, you get other thrushes. But this is also the bird that we were putting the nano tags on, those little backpacks on.
And then we've got this last one.
And this is the philosopher of the woods. This is the red-eyed vireo. And you can see it has a nice red eye, and that red eye actually is a characteristic we can use to determine whether it's an adult bird or a young bird. So an adult bird has a red eye, the young bird has a brown eye, and so we can figure out who's an adult and who's a hatchier.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's the one that goes, you know, is it true? What is life?
That's what it sounds like.
It just talks all day long.
Oh, good. This is my kind of bird that just talks
it
all
just
day long.
Talk.
Okay, well, now you have a couple of others. Are these Do these fall into a different category?
Well, these are the ones that when we catch them, we get excited about.
Okay.
Not that we don't get excited about the other ones, but you know, they're the regulars. And then
they're
you
the
know,
neighbors.
and then these, like this black-throated blue warbler, is a bird that we catch infrequently, oftentimes towards the end of the summer. But it's a great bird to get in the net and get in the hand. We hear them singing further up the hillside at Audubon, but we don't catch them that often.
Okay, so this one is evasive.
Yes, and then there's always the cool-looking birds. This is called a brown creeper. It has a very long bill there, kind of tough to see.
Almost reminds me of a hummingbird.
Well, yeah.
Is it because it drinks out of, does it drink pollen?
No, it uses that bill to poke around in the crevices of trees for insects and insect eggs, and it's got huge toenails that it uses to grip onto the tree. So the creeper is one that you'll often see going up a tree as it searches for those
And I can see that you were the person holding the bird in that, which tells me also too, you don't take all of these photos yourself.
Sometimes I do if I can get my camera going right, but oftentimes that's right. So many of those initial photos were from my coworker, Megan Lee Hall, and a volunteer photographer, Emmanuel Souza. I'm going to miss that last one. I had it. Fiosa, I think, is what it is.
Welcome to my world. There's a lot of names.
Yeah, and I was practicing it, but so they contributed a lot of those images.
And then we've got just a couple more here. We've got a.
So this is a bird that I think I've caught once or twice, and it's one that we really don't want to see in our nets. This is ruffed grouse or partridge. And it is, when it hits our nets, it just takes the whole net down with it because it's such a big bird.
That's not great. But
or it blows a hole through the net because it's so big.
One last one, and then we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
Who's this?
So, and this one was kind of the highlight of this year. And this is our scarlet tanager.
Beautiful.
And this is a bird that we, again, don't often catch because it stays high, and most of our nets are low. But we did catch one this year, and it was awesome to have it in the hand.
Okay, well, like I said, school was back in session today. That was a lot of birds. I'm going to go back and do a little bit of review. Be ready for next month when we can sit back down here again, and you can maybe run some of those bird calls past me and see how many I remember.
Yep, and now is the time of chip calls.
Ooh, okay.
So things aren't singing, they're just going back and they're communicating. So for instance, you're going to start hearing more chickadee-dee-dees.
Ooh, okay. Well, folks, do you have a bird question for Mark? Right there on the screen, you've got his address. Send your sightings and photos and questions. And Mark, ever obliging, font of bird knowledge, will do his best to help. I don't think he's been stumped yet. So Mark, thank you so much. It was fun.
As always, great to be here.
Ready for the next one. And as always, Vermont, thank you for learning and exploring with me today and Mark. And thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.